Welcome to this deep dive. We're tackling one of the really big wedding planning decisions today, finding that perfect photographer. Our goal is simple, really. Cut through all the noise and give you five, well, straightforward, expert-backed steps to help you capture your day, beautifully and authentically.
Exactly. And you're not just looking for pretty pictures, are you? You're looking to tell your story
Yeah.
with heart and soul and, well, real intention. So we're going to walk you through some insights, particularly useful for UK weddings, actually. Things like how to set a realistic budget, how to really clarify your vision, check their work properly, finding someone you actually click with, personality-wise, and maybe even doing a pre-wedding shoot to, test the waters. Yeah, this deep dive is all about giving you that know-how to pick someone who just gets your vision and feels like, well, part of the team on the day.
Okay, great. Let's get into it then. Step one has to be the practical side, doesn't it? Often the hardest bit, nailing down the budget right at the start. It sounds quite, fixed. A number, is there more to it?
Well, absolutely. So, yeah, the typical range for a full day in the UK, it might be somewhere between, say, £1,600 and maybe £3,200. But the key thing here, the real nugget, is understanding what's included in that price. Like, is travel extra if they're coming from further away? Do you actually get the rights to print your own photos? What about a second photographer? Or maybe an engagement shoot? Are those standard? Or do you pay more? And, lots of photographers now offer custom packages, maybe for shorter days, elopements, smaller weddings. That can bring the cost down quite a bit. It's really just about asking those questions up front. No surprises later.
Okay, that makes sense. So once you've got that sort of financial framework sorted, the next step feels more creative. Getting to the heart of it, how do you actually translate that dream you have for the day into something a photographer can, capture? How do you clarify your vision, your style?
Yeah, this is where you connect with the actual art of it. When you clarify your vision, you're basically choosing their photographic language. So, for instance, candid photojournalistic style. That's all about capturing real moments, unposed things, often using natural light, wider shots, telling the story as it happens. Then you've got timeless portraits, more posed usually, careful lighting, classic composition, images designed to last.
Yeah.
And maybe creative editorial style.
Mhm.
That often means more dramatic lighting, maybe unusual angles, quite artistic editing, like something from a magazine. Knowing these sort of terms helps you talk about what you like when you look at their photos. And remember, it's generally not a good idea to hire someone known for light and airy photos and then ask them for dark and moody. Their style is their art.
Right, their signature. And speaking of their work, that leads us neatly into step three, really reviewing it thoroughly, going beyond just the highlights they show off. Why is seeing more so important, especially if you're trying to decide quickly?
Well, the highlight reel is like a movie trailer, isn't it? It just shows the absolute best bits, often from perfect conditions. But a full wedding album, that's the whole movie. It shows you how consistent they are across the entire day. How do they cope with, say, tricky low light at the reception? Or getting those big, slightly chaotic group shots, what if it rains? Even less pretty moments, like guests just eating or mingling. You want to see consistent quality, sharpness, color, composition throughout, not just in those lovely golden hour shots. And maybe ask if they've worked at your venue before, if they know the space, the light. Well, it means fewer curveballs on the day itself.
Yeah, good point. Fewer curveballs is always good on a wedding day. Okay, so we've covered the art, the practicalities, but what about the human side of it? Your photographer isn't just someone you hire. They're kind of like a guest, aren't they? They're with you all day long. How crucial is that personal connection, really?
Oh, it's absolutely vital, honestly.
Yeah.
They become such an integral part of your wedding day. Often they're physically closer to you than most of your actual guests. You have to feel comfortable with them, relaxed, able to communicate easily. I've seen it make such a difference to the photos and the whole experience. So definitely arrange a chat in person if you can, or video call works too. Just get a feel for them. Ask some good questions too. Like, how do you approach working with a couple who might be a bit camera shy? Or maybe, how do you handle things if the schedule runs late? It just helps you see if you're on the same page, if their approach and, well, their personality feel right for you.
That makes a lot of sense. Feeling comfortable is key. And finally, the last step, something lots of couples find really useful apparently, is testing the waters with a pre-wedding or engagement shoot. Is this just about getting some extra nice photos, or is there more to it?
Well, the extra photos are nice, obviously. But the real value, I think, goes deeper. It's an amazing way to see how you feel in front of their camera. And it helps you get used to their way of working, maybe how they give directions for poses, things like that. I remember this one couple. They were so nervous about photos beforehand, But by the end of their engagement shoot, they were laughing, trying things out. And then on the wedding day itself, they barely noticed me because we'd already built that trust, that rapport. It's just invaluable, really, for both you and the photographer to properly mesh personalities and build that confidence before the big day arrives.
Okay, fantastic. So just to recap then, by following these steps carefully,
Yeah.
setting a clear budget and knowing what's included, exploring the different styles, really digging into those full portfolios, making sure you have that strong personal connection, and maybe doing that pre-wedding shoot. You'll be in a really strong position to choose a photographer who's not only technically brilliant, but also feels like a natural, supportive part of your wedding day.
Exactly. And maybe just a final thought for you to take away. If your wedding photography ultimately is about preserving the feeling of your special day, what single emotion or perhaps what defining moment above everything else is absolutely non-negotiable for those photos to capture? What feeling do you want them to convey years down the line, long after that last dance?